So if you're a practicing appraiser, you have seen a lot of cool tools come on the scene technology-wise. You've seen, Cubicasa. You've seen the scanning software. I've talked about that a little bit. Of course, we've been using lasers for a while now. I've talked a lot about the technology, and one thing I talk about a lot as a practicing appraiser myself is that you need to embrace technology, right? You don't type appraisal reports on a typewriter anymore. You could, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for you to walk around doing your appraisal inspection with a clipboard anymore. Somebody showed me what a clipboard looked like the other day. I almost forgot what they look like. It's been so long. You should be using a data collection device like an iPad or a tablet, or a voice recorder if nothing else. And probably we're getting real close, if we're not already there, to throwing out the lasers now. Well, Bryan, I just got the hang of using a laser. I know. But the technology is getting so good, lasers will kind of be like a tape measure really soon, in that they will be considered a thing of the past. So I just met somebody that's really, really smart, and I'm going to bring him on the program. We're going to have a conversation about it. So don't miss this one. Come right back. Hi, this is Bryan Reynolds. You're listening to the Appraisal Update Podcast, brought to you as always by the great folks over at Appraiser eLearning. If you need some education, please check us out at appraisereLearning.com. We've had a lot of new courses added on, and in fact, you can see me measuring a house with a laser. I haven't got these cool tools yet myself, but yeah, if you want to ride along, I call it a ride along. I have a brand new course out. It's called An Appraiser's Guide to Appraisal Inspections. It's self-paced. It's approved in multiple states, and surely will be approved in your state very, very soon. You actually get to go with me during the inspection on 2 houses. So I call it a ride along with me. Check it out at appraisereLearning.com. But I'm super excited to have, I've got a doctor in the house. He's actually a scientist. He worked for NASA, for crying out loud. He's really a smart guy. So please welcome my listeners, Mr. Dr. Ryan Alimo. Doc, how you doing? Tell everybody hello.
Hello. Thank you so much, Bryan, for the great introduction. It was very inspiring and and very engaging.
Well, so thank you for being here. And I know you guys had reached out to me a couple of times, and I apologize. I tell everyone that knows me, you got to shake me sometimes. It's really hard. And Claire at my office is the best way to coordinate things. So if you're a listener and you want to get on the program or you want to get in touch with me, I'm not important. I'm not a doctor, but I'm just busy, just like everybody else. Call my office at 270-302-8866, 270-302-8866. Ask for Miss Claire. She'll take very good care of you. Don't call her next week. She's on her honeymoon, for crying out loud. But Doc, thanks for being here. So before we dive into this, why don't you just tell my listeners a little bit about you? I said you're a scientist. You work for NASA, and we'll get to how you're kind of getting into the appraisal space, or you have been for a little bit. But just tell everybody a little bit about you.
Yeah, thank you. So as you mentioned, I'm a machine learning scientist, and what I did my PhD in postdoc at UCSD and Caltech, and later I joined JPL as to work on vision-based navigation for a spacecraft, and possibly enabling the next generation of the civilization on the moon and on Mars. Happened with the combination of AI, and the human, so they can power each other and become really, they can do beyond what a human can do when these two are going to work with each other. And during that time when I was at NASA's JPL, my sister, who is a licensed architect, approached me and said that you're working on amazing stuff. and can you build a simple app that I can record a video and gives me a floor plan of my building? And that was like almost 4 years ago. And I did some research and I saw that no solution exists at that time. So I tried to contact with different, have a contact with different companies and different people, and noticed that yet there is no interest. And what happened, we said, okay, we need to build it ourselves. And that's the culture that we have at NASA. At NASA, we have scientists and we have technologists. And scientists usually come up with a problem. They say that we need this tool, we need this measurement to be done on Mars. And then the technologist needs to build those technology and make it work. And that was the same scenario that happened. And how I came to like this podcast and why we're talking in an appraisal, e-learning about Mars and AI is we built this app called OPAL AI ScanTo3D, and we launched it in App Store in April. And soon after that, we noticed there are lots of tractions from the appraisers. Like they downloaded and contacted us and wanted to be aligned with this new regulation that Freddie Mac, put for in desktop and hybrid appraisers. And soon we understood that there is a market for it. And we, thanks to some of our users who are the, our appraisers, we made this appraisal report that is ANSI compliant Z765. We get the the information, we get the GLA calculation, and that's how we ended up in this market.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So a couple of things you said intrigued me. You said at NASA, you guys sat around. I don't imagine you just sat around, but at NASA, you sat around and you identify a problem, right? You say, hey, we have a problem. This is what we need. And then it's handed off to folks that say, well, how do we solve this problem? What can we create to solve the problem, right? And that's very much what we do as appraisers. I mean, step one of the appraisal process is identifying the valuation problem. I have to have a good, clear, critical understanding of the appraisal problem to see if in part I'm competent in solving the appraisal problem, right? So, and then there's other steps we do to solve that problem. And that's exactly what it sounds like you do at NASA. So I just want to reiterate some of this a little bit so I have a good, clear, critical understanding. Your sister is an architect, and she's the one that reached out to you and said, hey, Dr. Ryan, you're a smart guy. You're my brother too, but you're a smart guy. And you ought to be able to help me solve a problem. I have a problem of I want to be able to shoot a floor plan easily and have correct dimensions and know the total size, right? And so that's where this was really born. Is that?
Yes.
That's incredible. What's your sister's name?
Audrey.
Thank you, Audrey. Thank you for having this problem and reaching out to Dr. Ryan to try and solve the problem. I'm excited about this. I haven't tried it. I don't really know much about it, but I'm learning about it, Doc, just like my listeners are right now. So you solved the problem for your sister. You created an app, and it's called ScanTo3D, and it creates a floor plan. Now, this was originally created to help your sister, right? But you found that appraisers started downloading this and using it. Now, you mentioned a moment ago ANSI, Z765. So to remind my listeners, back in December of last year, Fannie Mae made a big announcement. And so far, Fannie Mae is the only one that's required this. But Freddie Mac has not said they're going to go against the grain. They haven't adopted it, but they haven't said that you can't do it, right? Fannie Mae has specifically said, as appraisers, you're going to now have a standard to measure single-family attached and detached homes, okay? We want you to use this nationally recognized standard. It's ANSI. That stands for the American National Standard Institute, and it's Z765, and it shows you how they want you to calculate. Now, you're telling me your little app that you have that scans the house does comply with the ANSI Z765. Is that correct?
Correct. However, still, the Fannie Mae requires a trained person to go there to the job site and do this measurement. So they still appraisers need to go there and do that. It's not for the homeowner that they can create that.
Right. And they are training other folks because they have the hybrid out there as well. But to your point, somebody needs to know what they're doing, right? So let me ask you a little bit about this app. And while we've been talking, I jumped over to the App Store and looked it up, and I found it. I'll just show it to if somebody's listening but also watching. There's the app, right? So tell my listeners a little bit about how this works. I mean, what kind of phone do I need? Do I need any attachment onto my phone, or does it just work right through my phone if I download the app?
So the only requirement is you need to have iPhone Pro, like 12 Pro, 13 Pro, 14 Pro, or iPad Pro after 2020. And the reason is you need to have a LiDAR scanner sensor, which is a depth sensor. It's like a radar, but in optics, that could measure accurately the depth of the space, right? The reason that we need that is to get an accurate, scale for the property, and theoretically we don't need, the LiDAR sensor. So the original algorithms we developed, and it was even in Android, it didn't have a LiDAR. But and it didn't had the requirement for the LiDAR scanner. However, for the architecture, they need an accuracy level of less than 1 inch. So we understood that at this time, with the processing power that exists on the iPhone and iPad, and the IMU sensor, which is the initial moment unit sensor, we still have a long path to go to make this adapt to not be to not have the LiDAR on your phone. So as a result, we decided, a strategic plan that we had. Let's have the LiDAR now, like self-driving cars. If you listen to Elon Musk, right, he says that we don't need LiDAR on Tesla, but they have radar, which looks like LiDAR, and they have like cameras, and they said we're gonna have the next generation of the Teslas without any like a radar even, and that's gonna happen for the OPAL AI ScanTo3D too. So as we have more powerful processors, which we do have, this iPhone 14 Pro is significantly more powerful than the iPhone 12 Pro. And they have a chip for computer vision chip, so you can do a lot more processing with the new phones. And based on the Moore's law, every 2 years you're going to see the computation power is going to increase exponentially. We're going to see that trend happening, and soon you're going to see that these phones are going to be as powerful as sophisticated hardware that you may need to purchase and spend like $1,000 or dozens of $1,000s. It can be replaced with your just smartphone.
It really is incredible. When I got my first real job, it was in mortgage banking. And it was a long time ago, and I moved to Chicago. I lived up in Chicago for 7 years. And we had a whole IT department, right? And the IT department, we had dumb computers on our desk. I call them dumb computers. They were just the monitor. The processor was back in the big IT department, right? And we had an elevated floor with air conditioning units that ran under these things to keep them cool. If it was a hot day and you were hot, you just went into the IT department because it was freezing in there. But they had computers the size of refrigerators, right? They had a whole room full of refrigerator-sized computers. And what's scary, Doc, is that today these little iPhones probably have more power than those things did. It blows me away. But you're telling me the new iPhone has a tremendous amount more ability than one just a couple of years. I think you're telling me to go buy a new iPhone, and all my listeners, go buy a new iPhone. I own about that much Apple stock, so go buy.
But it should be the iPhone Pro. So with the regular
Pro
phones, you can. One interesting thing that you mentioned, Brian, was I saw that you have the moon, screenshot on your phone, and the supercomputer that landed human on the moon is 1 million times less powerful than the processor that you have on your phone.
Wow, that's incredible.
And we are not using this phone for many things that we can that improve our life, right? And we need to do that. So we have this wonderful supercomputer in our pocket. Why don't we use that to improve our work? Why don't we use that to improve our the workflow and be more efficient? And that allows us, such applications such as ScanTo3D allows you to become a superhuman, right? Allows you to suddenly capture all the information in 3D, visualize that in 3D, have a 3D snapshots of your environment. And if you need that, you can calculate, the GLA for you. It can gives you the floor plan. It can gives you information what objects are in the house. And there's a lot of information that you can see. It can be processed, in real time, empowers you. As an appraiser.
I say a lot, Dr. Ryan. I say a lot of times. I say, there's a few ways that the practicing appraiser can become more efficient and do more work. One way is to hire helpers, right? Two people can do more than one, and in most cases, sometimes not. But a team of 5 can outperform a team of 1. That just makes sense. So one way as an appraiser to become more efficient and scale your business is to hire helpers, have team members. Another way is to embrace technology and use the tools that are available and be on the constant lookout for new technology that can help you do your job more efficiently. So let's talk about this for a little bit. Tell me how this thing's working, right? I know you talked about the LiDAR in the phone, and that's why you need to have a little bit newer phone with the Pro edition. I get it. But how does it work? Do I go through each room and scan it? And then what happens? Does it get sent to you and you send it back? Or walk me through that process of, if I download your app, what's the next thing I do?
So it should be very simple, right? So what the original goal we saw that many apps require lots of training. And what we start with in our app, it starts with the video recording. So when you open the app, it goes to the video. So you just need to walk around and take a video, and our AI is going to do the rest for you. So you can do it, in different rooms, like if you want, but it's more efficient if you capture everything in one shot. Again, it depends on the size of the property. We did, created a floor plan of a K-12 school, which was 100,000 square foot. And we did something that it is just one room, right? So different techniques are required for different sizes that you may have for your building. And usually for the residential properties, you can capture everything in one shot.
Okay. Well, that sounds exciting.
Well, if you go with the newer version of the processors, the M processors that Apple introduced, and with the newer version of the iPad and iPhone, you can get everything in one shot. Outside, inside, both of you would deliver that.
Wow. Well, I'm excited.
Multi-story.
I'm excited to see this thing in action. So I can get the second or third level as well, right?
Yeah, you can do that. Yes.
Oh, wow. And I don't think our typical appraisers are measuring houses at 100,000 square feet. I know you said you did the school at 100,000 square feet. You said that this adheres to the ANSI. It gets the appraisers in compliance with the requirements that Fannie Mae is wanting for GLA through ANSI, even though ANSI doesn't really say GLA. It's the square footage, which Fannie is going to call GLA. So I guess here's the $1 million question here, Doc, is what's this going to cost me? I mean, this must cost a fortune, right, for me to be able to buy this or use this, or what's the cost associated with it?
So the cost should be very scalable because 90% of the houses in the US don't have existing floor plans. And what we wanted to match is like $30. You're going to get the GLA and you're going to get the floor plan. You're going to get the virtual tour. Of note that you need to upload the results to our servers right now, which are the very secure servers. And then the processing should happen, on our servers. However, as the processor units that you have on your phone is getting upgraded over the years, most of the computation is going to come to your phone, and you can do it everything in a few minutes on your phone. But at this time, you need to, if the space is large, you need to upload it to our cloud servers.
Okay. So if I'm at a house, let's say I have a house to look at this afternoon, okay, and I want to use this technology, and so I go through and I scan it. How long before I have the finished product? Am I going to get it back the next day, or how long does it take me to get my floor plan and my virtual tour?
At this time, next day,
Okay.
but we're aiming at, bringing that to real time.
Oh, really? Oh, so it'd be pretty much instantly then.
Yeah,
Perfect.
like
Perfect.
10 minutes or so. So that's the goal, and that's where the industry is going.
Very cool. So let me ask you: is this is this just pay as you go program, or do you have a subscription? So if I tried this a couple of times, I pay you $30. I try it. I do two or three of them. And I'm like, hey, I'm hooked. Can I just subscribe and have a monthly or an annual service, or do I have to just do a one-off every time?
No, we want to establish this relationship with businesses, and you can purchase, we prefer to have a year contract or at least, 6 months contract with you. So we can have a trial in those costs, but after that, we can partner with you and with your software, and we can establish this relationship in a long term and have it, based on the monthly basis or yearly basis.
So, if my listeners are intrigued by this, I'll just tell you what I did. I just went into my app store right at the beginning of this broadcast, and I just typed in ScanTo, that's SCANTO, the number 3 and the letter D. That's all I put in there. ScanTo3D, and boom, it popped up. It says OPAL AI / ScanTo3D and floor plan. So that's it, right? I'm on the right spot
Yes.
there, right? And it says get. So the app itself, I don't have to pay to download the app. It's just when I use
No.
it, I assume. Okay, great, great. Well, I'm going to check it out. So, thank you for being here today. I mean, I think what I want to do, Doc, is bring you back. Maybe have you on a webinar where we have a live audience. Maybe you can give us a little demonstration, because then we have a viewing audience instead of a primarily listening. But you said something a moment ago. You said you have such a tremendous, powerful device in your pocket that it could make you a superhuman. I heard you say that a moment ago.
Yes.
So if any of my listeners right now want to take your advice and become a superhuman, how's the best way to contact you or your company and find out more about this exciting tool that could make them a superhuman, or maybe we call them a super appraiser, right? How did they get in touch with you?
Yeah, the email that we have is info opaltech.ai, is spells as OPALTECH.ai. And also our website is www.opal-ai.com. And you can reach out, to us. I'm in LinkedIn and Twitter. My name is Ryan Alimo, Alimo, and you can reach me out there, and then I can connect you with our team members. I want to thank the National Science Foundation our main sponsor for this technology. So the main sponsor that we have is the government of the United States and the National Science Foundation, which is an institution that gives birth to revolutionary technologies that is going to be suitable for the society. Usually they invest in technologies that the society need, and it makes the society better. And we try to do the same thing. We try to have a really good broader impact for the society in different segments, including appraisers and other segments. And I'm very glad that like people like you and others can leverage this state-of-the-art technology and make their life better and become a superhuman and become more efficient.
Yeah.
And we're excited to see that future.
Yeah, you got me sold when you said superhuman. I'm all about that. And anything that can kind of make our lives easier as humans, to your point, right? Let's embrace those technologies and use those. Again, Doctor, thank you so much for carving time out of your busy schedule to be here today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Bryan, for the invite. And thank you all for listening to this podcast. Take care.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to the Appraisal Update podcast, brought to you as always by Appraiser eLearning. Until next time, get out there, make some money, get some new clients. Think about creating a measuring service. Hey, maybe you could use this app to help you do that. Go around, solicit brokers, real estate agents, or maybe even for sale by owners. Let them know that misrepresentation of size is one of the big legal concerns. Ask Peter Christensen, it's in his book. And sell them a service of measuring their house for them. Maybe this is the tool to help that job be a little bit nicer, easier, cleaner, and really pretty. So check out my guest's website, check out his product. If you have any questions, let us know. Until next time, please be safe, make lots of money, and happy appraising.
The Appraisal Update podcast is brought to you by Appraiser eLearning.